The elven scout Lily stood at the edge of the forest watching the human settlement with curious eyes. Her two small dragons, Spark and Ember, perched on her shoulders, their scales glimmering in the sunlight. The dragons were no larger than cats, but they possessed fierce loyalty and magical abilities that had saved Lily many times. Lily belonged to the Silverleaf clan, a proud elven tribe that had avoided contact with humans for centuries. But now famine threatened her people. The magical blight had destroyed their crops and game had become scarce. Her younger sister Rose was among the sickest, her once vibrant face now hollow and pale. After weeks of debate, the Elven Council had made their decision: someone must approach the humans to trade. For food, Lily had volunteered, knowing the risks. Humans were unpredictable creatures of legend in elven stories, sometimes kind, sometimes cruel. Taking a deep breath, Lily stepped from the forest cover. Her dragons chirped nervously, sensing her fear, but remained by her side. The human settlement looked strange to her eyes, angular buildings of metal and stone instead of the organic structures of her people. As she approached, a group of humans spotted her. Their reactions were immediate, pointing and shouting, some reaching for weapons. A tall woman with short blonde hair stepped forward, her hand raised to calm the others. The human woman spoke. "I am Kate, leader of North Point Station. What brings an elf to our doorstep?" Lily bowed respectfully. Surprised, the human spoke the common tongue. "My name is Lily of the Silverleaf clan. I come seeking trade. My people suffer from hunger." Kate studied the elf woman with interest, her gaze lingering on the tiny dragons. "We heard rumors of elves in these woods, but never had proof until now. What do you offer in trade?" Lily reached into her pouch and withdrew a glowing crystal. The light pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "This is Heartstone. It powers our magic and can fuel your machines for years." Kate frowned. "That seems valuable. Why would you trade something so precious?" Lily looked down, her voice soft. "My sister is dying. Many of my people are sick. We need food, medicine, supplies to survive the winter." The human woman considered this, then made a surprising gesture. "Come inside, let us discuss this properly." What followed shocked Lily. Kate did not demand the Heartstone. Instead, she offered a different arrangement. "We need help understanding this planet's ecosystem. Your people know this world in ways we do not. Work with our scientists, teach us, and we will share our food technology and medicine." That evening, Lily sent Spark back to her village with news. A week later, elven healers arrived at North Point Station, bringing their knowledge of local plants and wildlife. Humans shared their advanced medicine. In return, Kate organized supply caravans to the elven settlement. Rose recovered her strength, returning to the lively sister Lily remembered. The dragons became favorites among the human children who had never seen magical creatures before. 6 months later, the settlement had transformed elven architecture, blended with human technology, creating beautiful hybrid structures. Gardens flourished with both human crops and native plants tended by elves and humans working side by side. What began as a desperate plea became something neither species expected: friendship, understanding, and strength through difference. Kate and Lily often sat together watching their peoples merge. Knowledge and skills, Kate would laugh. "I never thought I would have an elf as my best friend with dragons as a bonus." Lily would smile, touching the now dormant Heartstone she still carried. She had come prepared to sacrifice everything, even herself, if necessary. But the humans had shown unexpected wisdom, seeing greater value in cooperation than exploitation. The dragons, Spark and Ember, grew larger under human care, their magic stronger when fed properly. They became symbols of the alliance, protecting both settlements from outside threats. When traders from other human outposts visited, they marveled at the harmony. They had heard only stories of elven isolation and mistrust. Instead, they found a community where strengths complemented weaknesses, where different perspectives solved problems neither could tackle alone. As winter came again, there was no fear of hunger. The combined knowledge had created abundance, where there had been scarcity. Lily stood again at the forest edge, but now looked toward North Point with affection rather than fear. Her sister Rose now worked alongside human doctors, combining elven herbalism with human medicine. Ember chirped from her shoulder, sensing her thoughts. Lily smiled. Sometimes the greatest gift is not what you sacrifice, but what you build together. News of the successful alliance between elves and humans at North Point spread to other settlements. Both human and elven communities sent representatives to learn more. Each visitor left with seeds of change to plant in their own lands. The dragons. Spark and Ember would fly overhead during these diplomatic meetings, their presence a living symbol of the unexpected friendship. Kate had begun learning elven magic, a skill humans had long believed impossible, while Lily studied human technology. The exchange of knowledge flowed both ways, breaking down centuries of isolation and mistrust. Rose had fully recovered and now led a team of healers who combined elven plant wisdom with human medical science. Spring arrived, bringing new growth and possibility. The two communities planned a celebration to mark 1 year since Lily had first stepped out of the forest with her dragons and her desperate plea. The celebration feast marked 1 year since the alliance began. Humans and elves gathered under the stars, sharing food, music, and stories. The dragons Spark and Ember flew overhead, trailing sparks of magic that lit up the night sky like fireworks. Kate and Lily stood together, watching their people mingle and laugh. But not all welcomed this new friendship. A group of elven traditionalists led by Elder Fern believed that contact with humans would destroy their ancient ways. They watched the celebration from the shadows, their hearts cold with disapproval. Elder Fern whispered to his followers, "See how they forget our ways. They will lose themselves to human influence." Similarly, among the humans, there were those who distrusted the elves. A merchant named Gale spread rumors that the elves were using magic to control minds. She gathered supporters who believed humans should take elven resources by force rather than through cooperation. The next morning, Lily woke to find Spark acting strangely. The little dragon paced and chirped, pointing his snout toward the forest. Lily knew her dragons could sense danger. She quickly found Kate, sharing her concerns. "Something threatens us from the forest." Kate trusted Lily and her dragons without question. She ordered scouts to patrol the borders. Both elven rangers and human guards worked together, searching the woods. They found nothing, but Spark remained agitated. 3 days later, the threat revealed itself. A strange sickness began spreading. Through both communities, those affected developed a purple rash and fell into a deep sleep. Elven healers and human doctors worked tirelessly, but could find no cure. Rose discovered that the illness affected only those who had attended the celebration. Lily noticed something strange about the pattern of infection. It seemed to target those most active in promoting friendship between the species. Kate was among the first humans to fall ill, her strong body now weak with fever. Lily watched over her friend, worry etched on her face, while Ember curled protectively around the human leader. The dragons refused to leave those who were sick. Spark and Ember would touch their snouts to the foreheads of the ill, sometimes staying for hours. Their scales would pulse with gentle light, though it seemed to bring only temporary relief. Elder Fern approached Lily as she sat beside Kate. "This is what comes from mixing with humans," he said. "Our ways should remain separate as they have for centuries." Lily faced the elder, her voice firm. "This sickness targets both humans and elves alike. Someone wants to destroy our alliance, not protect our people." Rose discovered a crucial clue. The illness was not natural but magical in origin. She found trace elements of darkstone, a forbidden material once used in ancient elven wars. Lily realized with horror that someone had deliberately poisoned the celebration, gathering the healthy members of both communities. Lily shared what they had learned. The poison was designed to create fear and distrust between our peoples. "Someone wants to divide us." A human engineer named Maya spoke up. "If the poison is magical in origin, perhaps the cure must combine both human science and elven magic." Rose nodded in agreement. "We must work together faster than ever before. More fall ill each day." Lily noticed that Spark and Ember, though constantly exposed to the sick, remained healthy. Their dragon magic somehow protected them. Could the dragons hold the key to the cure? Working day and night, Rose and Maya created a treatment combining dragon scales freely given by Spark and Ember with human antibiotics and elven healing herbs. They tested small doses on the sick. The results brought cautious hope. The purple rash began to fade as they prepared to treat everyone. Lily realized someone had been watching their progress. A shadow moved near the medicine stores. She followed quietly with Spark on her shoulder. The little dragon growled softly, detecting a familiar presence. Elder. Fern stood in the shadows, his hands hovering over the medicine. Lily confronted him. "Why would you do this?" The old elf turned, his face twisted with fear and anger. "Our ways are disappearing. Human ways are stronger, faster, more tempting to the young. In another generation, nothing of our culture will remain." Lily stepped forward. "You poisoned your own people, including my sister." Fern looked away. "I meant only to sicken a few, to show that mixing with humans brings only pain." I never wanted. Kate, who had begun to recover, appeared behind Lily. "You cannot stop change, Elder, but you can guide it. Help us preserve elven wisdom while we grow together." The elder fell to his knees in shame. "I was wrong. Together, they treated all the sick." Within days, everyone recovered. The alliance grew stronger. Having faced its first true test, Kate and Lily established a council with equal representation from both species to address concerns and preserve important traditions from both cultures. The dragons, Spark and Ember, were honored as heroes. Their magic had been essential to the cure. Now many elves sought to bond with dragon eggs, a practice that had faded in recent generations. Humans, too, showed interest in learning the ancient art of dragon keeping. Lily watched as her small dragons played with human and elven children alike. The creatures once kept secret, now freely shared their magic with all who approached with respect. Spark had grown almost double in size, his scales shifting from orange to deep gold, a sign of maturity. Ember remained smaller, but her fire magic had strengthened. She could now create intricate illusions of light that delighted everyone. Spring turned to summer, and the combined settlement flourished. Kate and Lily received a message from the largest human city, Grand Oak, requesting a diplomatic visit. The rulers wished to see this unlikely alliance for themselves. Kate felt honored, but Lily worried. This attention could bring danger to their fragile peace. The dragons sensed her concern. Spark rubbed his golden head against her cheek while Ember curled her tail around Lily's wrist. Both creatures had grown larger, now reaching the size of large dogs. Their magical abilities had strengthened too. Spark could create protective shields while Ember could send messages through flames across great distances. Kate assured Lily, "We go together as equals to show what is possible when different species work as one. This is how we change the world." They prepared a delegation of 3 elves and 3 humans. Rose would represent the healers, Maya, the engineers, and others with unique skills to showcase their cooperation of the eye. Dragons would come too as living proof of their success. The journey to Grand Oak would take 10 days through territories unknown to the elves. Lily consulted ancient maps noting areas marked as dangerous, with faded warnings of strange creatures and unstable magic. Kate studied modern reports of bandit activity and weather patterns. Together they planned the safest route. They departed as summer reached its peak. The mixed party traveled with 2 wagons of supplies and gifts, including seedlings. From their hybrid gardens, healing potions, and small devices powered by Heartstone that combined human technology with elven magic. Kate rode a sturdy horse while Lily moved on foot with the natural grace of her people. The dragons alternated between flying ahead as scouts and riding on the wagons. On the 4th day, they encountered their first challenge. A massive fallen tree blocked the road, too large to move or cut quickly. Spark flew above, searching for a path around, but returned with concerning news. His mental images shared through his bond with Lily showed movement in the forest. Something large circled their position. A screech echoed through the trees. The humans reached for weapons while the elves prepared defensive spells. From the HFY forest emerged a creature of nightmare. A chimera with the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and a serpent for a tail. It had clearly been corrupted by wild magic, its form unstable and its eyes glowing with unnatural light. The chimera charged. Toward the wagons, Lily stepped forward with Spark and Ember flanking her. The dragons grew instantly alert. their bodies expanding with magic until they stood as large as horses, their true potential unleashed by the threat. Spark roared a sound no one had heard from the usually gentle creature, while Ember breathed a wall of blue flame, creating a barrier between the chimera and the delegation. Kate shouted orders, organizing the humans into defensive positions, while Rose prepared healing magic just in case. Lily communicated silently with her dragons, feeling their determination flow through their bond. "We protect together." The chimera hesitated, faced with the dragons, then roared in challenge. Spark met the creature in midair. Their bodies colliding with tremendous force, Ember maintained the flame barrier, preventing the chimera from reaching the others. Kate fired precise shots with her rifle, weakening the beast, while elven archers loosed enchanted arrows, working in perfect harmony. The combined forces drove the chimera back. Spark delivered the final blow, his claws striking with surgical precision at a weak point in the corrupted creature's neck. The chimera collapsed, its body dissolving into wisps of tainted magic that the dragons absorbed and purified. After the battle, the dragons returned to their smaller forms, exhausted but satisfied. Lily checked them for injuries, finding only minor scratches. Kate approached with wonder in her eyes. "I had no idea they could grow like that." Lily stroked Spark's golden scales. Dragons bond with their companions, growing in power as needed. They have been holding back their true nature to avoid frightening anyone. The humans looked at the dragons with new respect, while the elves seemed unsurprised. One of the elven delegates explained, "In ancient times, our ancestors rode dragons into battle, but as peace settled over our realm, the practice became ceremonial, then forgotten." That night around the campfire, they discussed what they had seen. Maya theorized that the wild magic affecting the chimera might be connected to the darkstone poisoning from earlier. "Something is unbalancing the natural magic of this." Landrose agreed. "The signs point to deliberate corruption, not natural phenomena." Kate looked troubled. "Do you think someone is testing us?" "Seeing how we respond to threats," Lily considered this. "The timing feels convenient, just as we travel to influence more communities." They doubled the watch that night, the dragons taking turns patrolling the perimeter. Despite their small size, now everyone understood their true power. Lily could not sleep, her mind racing with possibilities. Who would want to prevent their alliance from spreading? And why? The next morning, they cleared the fallen tree and continued their journey. More watchful than before, they encountered no more chimeras, but Lily noticed subtle signs of magical disturbance throughout the forest. Flowers blooming out of seasoned trees, with leaves half green, half autumn gold. Small animals behaving strangely. On the 8th day, they crested a hill and saw Grand Oak in the distance. A sprawling city of towering structures, both ancient stone and modern metal. The humans in their party smiled with pride, while the elves gasped at the scale of human achievement. Kate pointed to the central tower. That is where the Council of Seven meets the most powerful human leaders on the continent. As they approached the city gates, a welcoming party rode out to meet the men and women in formal attire with badges of office gleaming on their chests. Kate stepped forward to greet them formally, but Lily noticed Spark and Ember growing agitated. The dragons kept looking at one man in particular, an older official, with a trimmed white beard and calculating eyes. Later, Lily whispered to her dragons, "What troubles you?" The dragons projected images of darkness swirling around the man like invisible smoke. Lily had learned to trust their senses. The dragons could see magical energies invisible to others, she quietly informed Kate. The dragons sensed something wrong with the man called Counselor Gray. He carries dark magic similar to what corrupted the chimera. Kate frowned. "We must be careful. The Council of Seven holds tremendous power. If one of them works against us, their welcome to Grand Oak seemed warm and genuine. They were given comfortable quarters in the diplomatic wing of the central tower. But Lily noticed guards stationed nearby, ostensibly for protection, but positioned to watch their movements as well. That night, Ember woke Lily with urgent chirping. The small dragon projected an image of Rose being taken from her room by figures in dark clothing. Lily immediately woke Kate. They gathered Maya and the others. "We must find Rose." Lily sent Spark to track Rose by scent, while Ember stayed with the group to maintain communication between them. The small golden dragon slipped through shadows following the kidnappers while sending mental images back to Lily. Through this connection, they watched Rose being taken deep beneath the tower into tunnels older than the city itself. Kate equipped her team with communication devices, while Lily prepared elven stealth magic. They moved through the sleeping tower, avoiding patrols. The dragon's magical senses proved invaluable detecting guards before they came into view. Lily felt a growing certainty that Counselor Gray was behind the kidnapping. Following Spark's guidance, they descended through hidden passages. The architecture changed, from modern human construction to ancient stonework covered in faded runes. Maya examined the markings with fascination. These are older than both our civilizations. They reached a chamber where 2 guards stood before a heavy door. Kate signaled for silence, then used a device to create a distraction. A small projectile fired down the hallway, creating a noise that drew the guards away. The group slipped past and found the door locked. Ember approached the lock, breathing gentle flame that did not burn but revealed hidden mechanisms Lily understood immediately. The lock responded to magic, not keys. She channeled energy through her fingers into the ancient device. The door swung open, revealing a laboratory filled with strange equipment. Rose was strapped to a table, unconscious but alive. Counselor Gray stood nearby, mixing chemicals with focused attention. He looked up in surprise when they entered, then smiled coldly. "I wondered how long it would take you to find us." Kate aimed her weapon at him. "Release her now." Gray shook his head. "You don't understand the opportunity here. The elf girl carries something precious in her blood, something that could revolutionize human potential." Lily moved protectively toward her sister. "What have you done to her?" "The power of elven healing magic responds differently in her than others," Gray explained. He held up a vial of purple liquid. "Your sister recovered from the darkstone poison faster than anyone. When others died in my earlier experiments, she thrived. Her body adapted. I must know how." Lily realized with horror. The poison at the celebration was his work. People had died for his experiments. Maya had been quietly examining the laboratory while they talked. She whispered to Kate, "He's trying to infuse humans with elven magic. But the process is unstable. Look, along the walls were containment units holding failed subjects. Humans and elves with twisted forms caught between transformation. Those who had not fully rejected the foreign elements, but could not properly integrate them either. Prisoners of their own mutating bodies." Rose began to stir on the table. Lily rushed to her side while Kate kept her weapon trained on Gray. The dragons positioned themselves protectively, growling with a ferocity that made even the arrogant counselor step back. "We trusted you," Kate said with cold anger. "You welcomed us while planning to experiment on us." Gray remained defiant. "Do you know how long humans have lived in the shadow of elven magic? Centuries of watching your kind perform miracles while we struggle with technology. The Council has sought this knowledge for generations." Spark suddenly grew larger, his body expanding with protective magic. Ember followed suit, the 2 dragons now towering. In the chamber, their eyes fixed on Gray. "I see why you keep those beasts small," he said. "They're quite impressive at full size." Rose was now fully awake. She looked at Lily with fearful eyes. "He took samples of my blood. He said others like me died, but my body adapted to the dark stone I didn't understand." Kate had heard enough. Maya helped Rose. "We're leaving now, all of us. And Counselor, you're coming too. The other council members need to see what you've done." Gray laughed. "You think they don't know? The council has sanctioned my work for years. Elven magic has always been our target. Your little alliance was an unexpected opportunity. Nothing more." Lily felt cold anger rise within her. The trust they had built, the hope for a new beginning, all manipulated by human greed. She looked at Kate, seeing the shame and horror on her friend's face. "They've been using you too," Kate Gray added. "You were chosen to make contact because of your genuine belief in cooperation." The perfect unwitting ambassador. Kate's expression hardened. "I don't care who authorized this. It stops now. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Gray smiled mockingly. Security knows you're here. Soon this room will be filled with guards loyal to the council. Lily made a decision. She looked at her dragons communicating silently through their bond. The creatures understood immediately. Spark moved to the door, growing even larger until he blocked the entrance completely. No one would enter while he stood guard. Ember positioned herself near Rose, her flames ready. Maya had been working frantically at one of the computer terminals. She called out, "I've accessed their research network. I can delete everything. But we need time." Kate nodded. "Do it. Destroy it all." Gray lunged for a weapon, but Kate was faster. She fired a stunning shot that left the counselor unconscious on the floor. Lily helped Rose stand, supporting her weakened sister. The first sounds of guards attempting to break through reached them. Spark roared a challenge. The sound echoing through the stone corridors. Maya worked faster, her fingers flying across the terminal. "I've almost got it. Just a few more minutes." Rose looked at the containment units with the failed subjects. "We can't leave them like this." Lily understood her sister's compassion but saw the reality of their situation. Those poor souls were beyond help. Their transformations had gone too far. The kindest action would be release. Kate seemed to read her thoughts. She approached each unit, checking life signs. Most were already gone, mere shells kept animated by the machines. A few still showed brain activity, but their bodies had mutated beyond recognition. Kate made the difficult choice, deactivating their support systems with gentle words of comfort. Maya announced success. "I've wiped their research and planted a virus that will corrupt any backups, but we need to move now." They could hear reinforcements arriving. Spark held the door but could not do so indefinitely. Lily looked around. The lab for another exit. Rose pointed to a ventilation shaft. It might lead to the surface. The shaft was large enough for humans and elves, but the dragons would need to return to their smaller forms. Lily communicated the plan. Spark would hold the door until everyone was safely in the shaft, then join them in his compact size. Ember would lead the way, using her flame to guide them. Kate carried the unconscious Gray. They would bring him as evidence for the other council members. One by one they entered the shaft. Lily went last, waiting for Spark. As the golden dragon shrank down and flew to her, the guards finally broke through. The last thing Lily saw before sealing the shaft entrance was the guards discovering their commander unconscious and the research destroyed. The ventilation system was a maze of metal tunnels. Ember's flame provided light as they crawled through the darkness. Rose, though weakened, kept pace, her determination evident. Maya used her technical knowledge to guide them toward the surface, avoiding fans and security sensors. After what seemed like hours, they emerged on the roof of an adjacent building. The dawn was breaking over Grand Oak, casting long shadows across the city. Lily took stock of their situation. They had Rose. They had evidence of the council's treachery in the form of Gray himself, and they had destroyed the research. But they were now fugitives in the largest human city on the continent. Their diplomatic mission in ruins, Gray began to regain consciousness. Kate bound his hands, making sure he could not escape. "We need to reach the other council members," Lily said. "Those who might listen." Kate looked doubtful. "After what we've seen, how can we trust any of them?" Maya spoke up. "I know someone, counselor. Diane, she opposed Gray's methods for years. She might help us." They moved carefully across the rooftops, avoiding the searching spotlights from guard towers. Maya led them to a residential district where the buildings were older and closer together. The dragons flew ahead, scouting safe paths. Gray remained there, prisoner. Though he had stopped struggling and now watched them with calculating eyes, Kate contacted the rest of their delegation using secure channels, warning them to prepare for immediate departure. The situation had become too dangerous to remain. In Grand Oak, Counselor Diane's residence was a modest building compared to the grand homes of other council members. Maya approached alone, knocking on a side entrance. A woman in nightclothes answered, looking alarmed until she recognized Maya. "What is happening? Why are you here at this hour?" Maya spoke urgently. We need your help. It's about Counselor Gray and his experiments. Diane's expression darkened. She ushered them inside quickly, leading them to a secure room in the basement. When the lights came on, Lily could see it was a kind of personal office with communication equipment and security monitors. Diane gasped when she saw Gray bound and Rose's weakened condition. The counselor turned to Kate with grave eyes. "You found his laboratory?" Kate nodded. "We have proof of unauthorized experimentation on both humans and elves," Lily added. "He created the darkstone poison that infected our communities. Dozens died so he could study those who survived." Gray finally spoke, his voice calm, despite his situation. "Everything I did was for humanity's advancement. The council approved my research." Diane shook her head. "Not all of us. Some members were kept in the dark about the extent of your methods. I've suspected for years but could never find proof." She turned to the others. "Show me everything." They shared their discovery. Maya retrieved data she had secretly copied rather than destroyed, evidence of years of unethical experiments, first on animals, then on elven prisoners, and finally on human volunteers. The progression showed increasing desperation and decreasing moral restraint. Spark and Ember remained alert throughout the meeting, their small forms belying their power. Diane watched the dragons with wonder. "I never understood why elves kept dragons as companions. Now I begin to see." Rose, who had regained some strength, explained. "The bond between elf and dragon is sacred. We do not keep them. They choose us. We share magic and life." Gray scoffed. "What sentimental nonsense. Magical creatures should serve a purpose. The power in their scales alone could." Diane silenced him. "I've heard enough." She turned to Kate and Lily. "You cannot stay in Grand Oak. I can give you safe passage to the city limits, but after that, you must return to your settlement." Lily felt disappointment. Was this all their mission would accomplish? Escape with their lives, but no real change? Kate seemed to share her frustration. "We came to build bridges, not burn them." Diane looked thoughtful. "I believe in what you're trying to create, but the council has been corrupted by people like Gray who see elves as resources, not equals." She considered for a moment. "There may be a way to expose this without putting you at risk." Her plan was simple but effective. Diane would call an emergency council meeting presenting the evidence of Gray's experiments, excluding any mention of Kate and Lily's involvement. She would frame it as an internal investigation triggered by resource discrepancies. With Gray himself as evidence and the data Maya had saved, they would have no choice but to acknowledge the truth. The next stage would be more difficult. Diane would propose a legitimate diplomatic mission to the mixed settlement, genuine negotiations without hidden agendas. It would not be easy to convince the other members, especially those who had supported Gray, but the public exposure of his methods would create pressure for reform. Before dawn, they said their goodbyes. Diane provided them with transportation and supplies for the journey home. As they prepared to leave, she took Lily aside. "I have watched humans and elves circle each other with mistrust for my entire life. What you and Kate have built is precious. Don't give up on it." The journey back was quieter than their arrival, each lost in thoughts about what they had discovered and what it meant for their future. The dragons remained vigilant, protecting them from threats both magical and mundane. Rose gradually recovered her strength, though she would need time to fully heal from Gray's experiments. They arrived home to a settlement anxious for news. Kate called a community meeting, where they shared a modified version of events, explaining that some in Grand Oak were not ready for alliance, but leaving out the worst details of Gray's laboratory. They emphasized that friends like Diane existed even in the highest levels of human government. Lily watched the faces of her people, seeing worry, confusion, and resolve. They had created something beautiful in their mixed community, something worth protecting. That night, Lily sat with Kate on the hill overlooking both the human structures and elven dwellings. The dragons rested nearby, having earned their respite. "So, what now?" Kate asked. "Where do we go from here?" Lily considered the question. Gray sought to take elven magic by force, but true magic comes from connection, not conquest. Perhaps we need to show others that voluntary sharing benefits everyone. Kate nodded. The problem was never about humans versus elves. It was about fear versus trust. Those who fear difference seek to control or destroy it. Those who trust in possibility seek to understand and grow. A messenger arrived, interrupting their conversation. A communication from Counselor Diane had reached them. Gray and 3 other council members had been removed from power. The remaining council wished to send a genuine diplomatic party to learn about their settlement. Diane would lead them personally. Hope rekindled in Lily's heart. Perhaps change was possible after all. She looked at Spark and Ember, who had grown so much since their journey began. The dragons sensed her thoughts, sending feelings of determination and courage. Their magic had always been strongest when used to protect and unite, never to divide or control. As stars appeared in the evening sky, Lily and Kate made plans for the future. Their settlement would become a beacon, a living example of what cooperation could achieve. The dragons would play a central role, ambassadors between species and living symbols of magical potential. Rose joined them on the hillside, bringing news. The hybrid plants they had developed were yielding abundant harvests. Other settlements, both human and elven, had requested seeds and growing techniques. Their influence spread through practical benefits, not just idealistic words. Kate smiled. Despite everything that happened in Grand Oak, we're making progress, one connection at a time. The dragons chirped in agreement, Ember creating small flame patterns that danced in the twilight. Spark nuzzled against Lily's hand, his scales warm with magic. Lily gazed at the settlement below, where humans and elves moved among buildings of stone, wood, and metal. Children of both species played together, under the watchful eyes of parents who had once been strangers, now friends. This was the true magic, more powerful than any spell or technology. The ability to see beyond difference to possibility. The world was changing slowly, but surely, and they were at the heart of that change together. In the months that followed, their community grew stronger. New families arrived, seeking the harmony they had created. Diane's diplomatic mission proved successful, establishing formal relations between their settlement and Grand Oak. Other cities and elven clans sent representatives curious about this new way of living. The dragons thrived in the atmosphere of cooperation. Spark and Ember became parents to a clutch of eggs, a rare event that elven historians recorded with joy. The hatchlings would grow in a world where humans and elves worked together, perhaps bonding with children of both species. Lily and Kate established a council of their own with equal representation and shared leadership. They named it simply the Circle, a place where no voice held more weight than others, where decisions came from consensus, not command. The Darkstone that had caused so much pain was studied carefully by joint research teams who discovered ways to neutralize its corrupting influence. The knowledge they gained helped heal lands tainted by wild magic, restoring balance to forests and waters. 1 year after their return from Grand Oak, they held another celebration, this time with representatives from 7 human cities and 5 elven clans in attendance. As the sun set, Lily and her dragons welcomed them all with ancient elven words given new meaning. Where there was division, we create harmony. Where there was fear, we cultivate trust. Where there was isolation, we build community. The dragons, Spark and Ember, now magnificent creatures the size of horses when they chose to be, rose into the evening sky, trailing magic that formed bridges of light above the gathered people. A symbol of what had been accomplished and what was yet to come. Lily stood with Kate, Rose, Maya, and others who had been part of their journey, watching as humans and elves mingled freely, sharing stories, food, and hopes for the future. This was only the beginning. Their work would continue, their example would spread, and the world would never be the same.